So come things invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional run. For today's items only, the investment gonna talk today will be Ethereum ETH. So it's my second posting as of today. Respect to recording time of 1:19 p.m. on the Eastern time. Ethereum contract $3,793, down about 2.22% so far. On the overall crypto market, it seems like it's kind of flat slash negative at the moment with respect to selective coins. Seems like it's selling off a little bit more than others. So with respect to Bitcoin, currently down about 0.44%, kind of just flat, right? Hovering around the $60,000 mark that is still struggling to sustain, obviously mainly driven by the public investors, ahead of the ETF for Bitcoin that's expected to debut in the near term, I believe in the next couple of weeks, right? With respect to Ethereum, currently down about 2.22%. It seems like on the technical front, the whaleback is forming a curvature downward right now. At the same time, we're slowly depleting right now at the 64 out of 70 mark. In addition to that, look at the news front. There's been some news that happened on this Sunday morning. Obviously a little bit afternoon so far. So Bazing 2 hours ago talked about Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Dogecoin versus even Shiba Inu. Which crypto emerges the winner for the week? So obviously with respect to the coins, just another juxtaposition on the relative activities that we've seen this week, right? Seems like across the spectrum has been relatively bullish. But obviously the altcoin side of the house are a little bit more prominent in comparisons to, the more of the bigger coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum respectively. And also, with respect to the article, it talks a little bit about like the value proposition of each one, but doesn't really go dive into it. Just more of like a quantitative comparisons of all of their, weekly performance so far. So it's not really an article that's really worth reading, but it's good to read if you want to take a look on how they're depicting around these four coins. The next one is on Market Watch about 3 hours ago. Talk about investment advisors extremely skeptical about the first US Bitcoin ETF. It's a hard thing for RIAs to recommend an inferior crypto product. So this is something that is definitely a legit concern with respect to the advisor. Seems like with respect to this ETF, which is obviously tied to the index of the crypto fund, knowing the fact that there is still a lot of unknown questions that needs to be asked with respect to the crypto bill, and also with respect to the Feds, and I would say also on the globalization side of the spectrum as well, with respect to China, on their crypto crackdown as well, how that will be triangulated going forward, and how would that be impacted to ETFs? That's something we still need to be verify. But ultimately, we are trending in the right directions. But the investment advisors, are skeptical for the right reasons because they're still, firstly, on a highest and most macro perspective, crypto is still a relatively early technology. The infrastructure on both the technological side, but also on the cybersecurity compliance infrastructure side as well, is still something that needs to be further implemented. And there's a lot of activities that's going on behind the doors with respect to the Fed and their collaboration with the SEC on just the domestic side of the spectrum in the US, but also with respect to the European side of the house, like Christine Lagarde, her depiction has always or historically been negative on crypto assets, to now hearing like Russia with the stamp of approval for crypto with Putin's recent news affectation. And now if you also take a look at the East Asia region with respect to China, seems like they obviously with their communist hat on, enforcing some, type of regulatory structure and pushback. So there's a lot of mixture. It's definitely difficult to gauge, and ultimately, with respect to China, is still a big if, right? They do have relatively large market power onto driving more volatility onto crypto going forward, right? Despite the cry wolf type of affectation, we've heard that like about 7-8 times now on the news front that they're banning crypto, and they're shutting down the mines, right? The 10,000 crypto mines across the country of China. So I do understand and I can empathize with respect to these investment advisors that ETF has historically had that reputations for being something that's more stable because it's an index. But with this, you know, a lot of the if elements, if you may, how can we feel confident into that long-term growth is still something that no one can really answer yet, nor can I answer yet, right? The next one's on Cointelegraph about 3 hours ago, talk about how to modify or cancel pending Ethereum transaction. So this is more of a tactical article, talk about how do you pull back on a transaction that you want to put on. So I guess it's more of a instruction manual type of step-by-step type of thing. Interesting to know. If you want to take a read, feel free to do so. And the last one is talk about, again, on Market Watch about 6 hours ago, where's crypto headed after Bitcoin recent rally? Again, another foreshadow news is kind of pointing negative already, which we will just go straight into the technical analysis now, right? So with respect to Ethereum, we did break the resistance level of the 3,843, so we are leaping down. We're basically $10 well, $60 below the level of next identified consolidation zone. So it seems like we are forming a well back, again, curving down. We are still at the 64 of 70, so still overbought. And I think the next logical consolidation support will be the 3,472, right? But you could see that there's not enough substantive level. It's basically recently formed. We had a couple ones here. So ideally, you know, at bare minimum, right, you want to buy at this level first. And then the next level will be 3,150, which is the level I personally feel comfortable buying at. So I'll still wait until that level, and I think we are actually seeing that in front of our eyes right now. Even though like it's technically a Monday morning on the other side of the house right now in China, but for obvious reasons, because they are still, you know, there's still suspensions. That is, we don't have confirmatory dates on when is that suspension is going to be, you know, lift off, right? So something that is, you know, seems like on the media front is not really percolating at the moment. And with respect to Bitcoin right now, we are curving down comparable to Ethereum, but we're way more overbought because we're at the 76 out of 70, so we even exceeded the mark, right? And you could see that we already formed an apex. The apex was the 63,000, right? 62924. And whatever we're curving down right now, whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast. And if you take a look at the resistance level, right? And ideal next level leap down to will be the 53 first, right? And the reason is because we had that matching right here, and also a couple of matching right here. But ideally coming down to the 50,000 first, and then 43, 40, 37, 34. It just makes more logical sense, right? Because by then we'll be more depleted. We definitely don't want to be buying at a premium at the moment. So with respect to Dogecoin, again, we are forming a death cross slowly. So ideally buy at the 21, the 20 cents would be a better, more optimized level, especially we are still at the 50 out of 70. So as we wait until we deplete back to below 35, which is technically at the 20 cents, will be more optimal. And it seems like I'm not loading. There we go. So with respect to the Cardano, is still trending in the same fashion as Dogecoin. Ideally buying at the 205, at the 210 at bare minimum, and the 205 would be more optimal to buy at. Solana, we were surging a little bit more prominently earlier, but it seems like it immediately sold off. It seems like we are still at the 55.70. We've formed a death cross recently, so that's the reason why we're slowly selling down, but we are fusing closely together. It seems like we're struggling to see which side we're going to right now, but I think the likelihood of actually having some surge going forward would be more likely than a downside going forward. So Solana, I think as we deplete a little bit more, would be not a bad setup actually to leap up until to the 178. And even potentially even go up to the close to 200, a $195 level, which we've seen in the past when we were surging to the 215 on basically early September. Respect XRP ideally is trading comparable to Dogecoin and Cardano, and we are forming a death cross slowly with the 55.55 of 70. So ideally buy at the 110, and then 101 would be more optimal level. Polkadot, we are still having that outlier that is forming a well back right now, and we at the 64 out of 70. So ideally buy at the bare minimum of the 34, and then ideally at the the 25 would be a better level for me to dollar cost average at. Do we see 18.71? I think that was just a flash crash that happened once. So, but ideally, yeah, bare minimum 30 to 25 cents, $25 would be more logical for us. Algorand, I think we are, similar to Dogecoin and Cardano, we are the 55 out of 70. So I think ideally curving back down to somewhere around like the 161 and then ideal 150 will be more optimal for us. So with respect to market cycle, it's very convoluted at the moment. So I think we don't want to confuse ourselves even more by looking into it. I don't think we are in the thrill and euphoria stage again because we're not breaking all-time high. So technically, it means that we're just having a really abnormal, well-manipulated type of zone that I don't even know if we are in anger depression. But again, right, if we want to be breaking all-time high all over again by next year, we need to be in the anger and depression stage. That's just the way it is, right? Because the monetary supply has to come from somewhere. So I think the best scenario would be like, crypto to slowly sell off a little bit more, right? The sector rotations to the equity side, which makes sense as we're seeing right now. And then as we get to the anger and depression stage on the crypto side, we should technically have a rally to hit all-time high again by next year this time, right? But right now at the risk management level, I think these are the most logical levels to dollar cost average at. Feel free to use this as your reference. Again, this is my risk management levels, not for everybody. Everybody have different risk aversions, and I think this is the one that makes sense for me the most. And these are basically translations into the technical charts we've talked about so far. So hopefully this is helpful. And that's it really for Sunday. Really appreciate you for dropping by again. You guys are really diligent investors for watching so closely onto the market despite it's Sunday. But really appreciate you and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care.